Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Welcome back. I guess today we're going to continue on with our Pythagorean theorem lessons, and we're going to look at some more complex style problems using it. So right off the bat, we're going to kind of do a kind of a refresher over the last video. Remember, Pythagorean theorem is just a right triangle. We have legs of A and B, and a hypotenuse of C, and our general equation is a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So we're going to learn how to use that situation for these style of problems. So the first one we're going to look at is this right here. We have an isosceles triangle uh, with the I guess sides of 30. This is also going to be 30 since they're equal to each other, and a base of 16. When we are looking for x, this function or this value right here. Now, for us in this situation, I really don't need this entire triangle, okay? Because it doesn't really help me out. How do I need to look and use Pythagorean theorem in some way to solve for this hypotenuse. So since this is a right triangle, I can kind of break this apart. If I know this entire thing is 16, okay, and we know these sides are equal to each other, and this breaking it in half, right? We can make the general assumption that these have to be equal to each other as well, okay? If that's our assumption, that means this has to be 8 and this has to be 8. So now I just need to work this triangle and I can solve for x, okay? So I'm going to set that equation up now. I'm going to say x squared plus 8 squared is equal to 30 squared. All right? So I can put those in my calculator, okay? And we end up with x squared plus 64 is equal to 900. All right? We need to get x squared by itself, so we're going to take and subtract 64 on both sides. That's going to leave us with x squared is equal to 836. Now, if we want to solve for x, now we need to take the square root of both sides again. So the square root of x squared and the square root of 836. Okay? Put those in your calculator or whatever you're using. Okay, your phone will probably work just as well. And we end up getting an x value of 28.91366. Okay? Now, for our general purposes, we don't need that many decimal places. We can round to 2. So we're only going to be rounding to this many decimal places. But we need to make sure we round up or down accordingly. So we're going to look at this last sign, or sorry, this last number right here, this 3. If it's 5 or above, we round up. If it's 4 below, we round down. So since it was a 3, and that's below 5, we're going to round this down. So we're going to end up having a final answer of 28.91. Okay? And that's about it, okay? It's a little more complex situation, but that's it. So let's look at a little more difficult style problem, okay? So let's adjust this accordingly. And right there. So we have I guess a scaling triangle. Nothing is congruent on it. And we know these hypotenuses of each individual triangle is 15 and 45, and they have a height of 8. And we're looking for the entire base put together. So what we can do this one, we can break this apart. I can say I'm going to work this triangle right here, and I'm going to work this triangle right here. We do that because if I can solve for this, and let's just name it let's give it a value so we can solve for it. I'm going to call this A, and I'm going to call this length right here B. So we have from here to here, this length A, from here to here, this length B. So if we find A and B, we can combine those two terms into X. And that's all we do. So I'm going to take this triangle right here, and I'm going to solve for it. So I have triangle, I don't know if I have enough room now. Let's go with this. 8, 15, and A. So I'm going to work that out. And so we're going to say A squared plus 8 squared is equal to 15 squared. Keep going on kilter on y'all, I'm sorry. So, put in our calculators. A squared plus 64 is equal to 225. We want to solve for A, so we subtract 64 on both sides. And that leaves us with A squared is equal to 161. Now once again we need to solve for A, so we need to take the square root. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. And that leaves us with a value for A of 12.6885775. So once again, I can leave that value, okay, but I really don't have to. I'm just going to round it up, okay. For these style problems, okay, you can be off within, I'm going to say for my class for program, I'm going to be off, we can be off a tenth or so, okay. That's fine with me as long as I see what you're doing and I know your process. I'll be fine with that. So I'm just going to go ahead and round these two values. So once again, we're going to round to 2 decimal places. So since this 8 right here is greater than 5, hey, we round up. So this means A is equal to 12.69. Okay, and now we're going to do this triangle. That's a little funky triangle. We have 45, 8, and we have B. So B squared plus 8 squared is equal to 45 squared. We put in our calculator once again. So we have B squared plus 64 is equal to 2025. Okay, so we do the same process. Subtract 64 both sides. We end up with B squared is equal to 1961. Want to solve for B? We take the square root of both sides, and it leaves us with the B value of 44.2831796.5. So once again, we're going to round up to 2 decimal places. Since this 3 is less than 5, we're going to round down. So we end up getting a final B value of 44.28. Now once again, we're not A and B is not our final answer. Okay, we don't want to know what A is and just B is. We want to know what X is. So we established that if we find A and we find B, we can combine those two terms in order to get X. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to add those two terms together. A plus B is equal to X. So 12.69 plus, we'll make sure we can see it, 12.69 plus 44.28 is equal to 56.97. So we end up having an X value equal to 56.97. That is our final answer. Okay. So that's about it for this lesson. We're about 9 minutes into it. If you have any questions or want me to work any other style problems, just leave a comment. Okay, guys. I hope that helped you. Okay, I'll post the lesson on Google Classroom, and probably as soon as whenever you watch the video, it'll be up for you. I hope you have a good day. Make sure to like and subscribe. And later.